the guys coming in will do the job?
Morning all, thanks for the opportunity. Yes, obviously very sad for the guys who missed out. Injuries are part of the game, so we generally prepare for those things. So, you always delve into your depth. So I think we've got a suitable replacement. So yeah, very sorry for Gerald and for Vian for that matter.
Thanks, Johan. Amir?
Good morning, Coach, and thank you for the opportunity. Coach, if you could just speak about the journey or the evolution of this bowling group in the last 2 years. What would you say were the successes, and where are the areas of growth that you think can still be improved upon?
Yes, thanks a lot. Yeah, I think they've done exceptionally well. Obviously, every test match, it's about taking 20 wickets. And I think what we've done well is to bowl in tandem very well. I think it's always been a case where, even with our spin bowlers, the team has sort of bowled very well in tandem to get the required 20 wickets every time. And I think basically so many world-class players there, but they put in the hard work. That is the main ingredient. There's a lot of hard work being put in, and that's evident on the field that it's coming through. In terms of our bowling depth, yes, we do have a couple of injuries. Lungi is also injured, and so is Nandre Burger. But yes, it's giving opportunities to certain individuals, and it's just giving us a bigger picture at the end of the day of what we've got.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks, Amir. For those, then Fani.
Hi, Piedt. I just want to ask a little bit about the conditions here. Obviously, you know them pretty well, and you've got a bowler like Jane Patterson who's been in the squad. Do you think St George's Park will suit someone like him, or do you think it's a kind of place where you want to unleash like a young Kwena Mapaka?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We obviously have to look at the conditions. Generally, St George's Park is a very good cricket wicket. You can get runs on it. The bowlers, if they, like you mentioned, like a Dane Patterson, his style of bowling would suit that surface. Bowl that perfect length consistently and with good discipline. You'll definitely can come into play. Our DNA is our pace, so that's also something that we're going to discuss, whether Kwena comes into it. And obviously, from a spin bowling point of view, traditionally, St George's Park spin bowlers do come into it. It can even be the first innings, depending on the moisture and the pitch, and then definitely later on in the game, the spinners do come into play. So yeah, we have to analyse conditions and then make the selection accordingly.
Thanks for those. Fani?
Piedt, can I ask you a double-barrel question regarding Kwena Mapaka? Can you reflect a little bit on his talent and, if selected, on his role? Because you saw him last year when he made his first-class debut for SAA against Sri Lanka A, so you were well acquainted with him. What do you make of his talent, and if selected, what would be his role in the South African team?
Yes, we actually came to Kandy in Sri Lanka. He made his debut, and unbelievable talent. He's got the pace for a young guy, and he's got the mental makeup. I think that's one of his strengths. When you speak to him and you work with him, he's got a big self-belief in his ability, and I think that's the most important thing. He can bowl in the 140s for a young guy. That's exceptional. And obviously, with that kind of ingredients, you're going to give him the freedom to just bowl the way he's bowling. You don't want to put any pressure on him. So his role will be just to be himself and let go, because he's certainly got the pace to put batters under pressure, and we'll allow him to do that if he plays.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fani. Telford, and then we'll take the follow-up from Firdous if that's a new hand, Firdous. Go ahead, Telford.
Thanks, Lucy. How's it, Piedt?
Hello, Telford.
I just wonder how somebody like Dane Patterson has been sitting on the bench for a while now, and suddenly in comes this exciting young Kwena Mapaka, and you've also got, we bumped into Senaran in the airport yesterday, and he also hasn't played for a bit, and he seems in remarkably high spirits. So I just wonder as a coaching group, how do you handle the guys who are sitting around and maybe thinking their opportunities are disappearing?
Now look, Dane played in Bangladesh the last test, and so he did very well for us there. So like mentioned before, St George's is certainly a place where he will, come into selection. We basically style of bowling would suit that those conditions, and if not, then he's always a positive person. I mean, Durban the last test, he's always involved in the team, and he's bowling every day, and he's doing his job. So if he doesn't play, perfect person to have around. So I think generally in our group that is the attitude. I think all the players who are not getting a lot of playing opportunities, who are sitting around, they contribute around a team, and they're very positive, and they do their work, and that's all we can ask for.
Thanks, Talford, for those.
Yeah, but I just want to ask about, you obviously had guys who operated as strike bowlers, particularly in that first innings in Durban, and I suppose it wasn't an opportunity to see if anybody could hold an end. But then in the second innings, with a lot of runs, I guess, to defend, we did see some guys be a bit expensive. Is what you're looking for now someone who can hold an end? I mean, Keshav's there, obviously, but are you looking for a seam bowler who can do something like that?
Yeah, I think generally we just look to bowl with good discipline, our whole bowling attack, irrespective of what your role is. If your role is to be aggressive, we still need to be disciplined. It's about, I think the reason why we've been successful thus far as a bowling unit is because we've been able to be aggressive combined with good discipline, in combination with good discipline. And so that's going to be the requirement. So, I think, like mentioned before, there'll be different roles, but those roles will have to be sort of executed with good discipline in combination with, our DNA, like I mentioned, our aggression. So that will be the mindset.
Thanks for those. Kanyiso?
Thank you very much. Good morning, Pete. Hope all is well, and congrats on the win in the first test. That second innings, how important was it for the bowlers to remind themselves that conditions like the ones experienced in Sri Lanka's first innings are more of an outlier, whereas in terms of bowling to win test matches, especially with this particular with the final looming, how important was that session to remind bowlers of the need to be patient and actually work for wickets and work bowlers out?
Yeah, look, I think it's about just pressing the reset button every session and every day. The first innings, it was good bowling conditions, overhead conditions. We bowled good areas and good aggression. We managed to bowl them out. And then in the second innings, the wicket did flatten out a bit. It got a little bit lower, more sunshine around. So we knew it's going to be a little bit more hard work, and it's about just pushing that reset button and say, and the guys understand that we're going to require a little bit more patience to do it, and it's going to be a bit more hard work. And they certainly a very good batting lineup. If you look at the averages, they've got 4 or 5 guys who averages in 14 Test cricket. So they're always going to come up with a fight and plans against our bowlers. So I think it's just about then being patient and work in tandem. And obviously Keshav came into play as well. And important as a seam bowling attack to bowl well with him as well. So in a sense it was good for us to have a bit of a stretch, because lately things with respect has been happening quite quickly for us. We never bowled a lot of overs in the last couple of test matches, so getting guys like Botha and Marco Jansen into 17, 18 overs was in a sense also good and positive for us going into this test this week.
Thanks, Kanyiso. Amir?
Thank you. Coach, you spoke there about the possibility of Quina getting a run out. You've got Dane who could come in to replace either Vian or Gerald. But what is the likelihood of adding a second spinner to the playing 11, given your knowledge of conditions firstly and your assessments thereof?
Yes, that will be assessed today and tomorrow, obviously, and also the morning of the game. So weather looks good for the week coming. Sometimes it depends on the wind factor. I know that sometimes in PE we can get heavy winds, and it depends from which direction. And if you get that wind factor in, spin becomes more into play. If it's a wicket that's well prepared and got a bit of moisture in, also then spin, does come into play. Traditionally, on other grounds not, but it's in Georgia certainly it can. So the option of a second spinner is definitely, it's definitely there to be discussed. So that will be part of the discussion for over the next 2 days.
Thanks, Samir.
Awesome, thank you.
Oh, thank you, sorry. We're going to start taking the last couple of questions now. Go ahead, Zahir.
How's it, Piedt? Amir touched on it a little bit, but between you and Aiden Potter, there's probably nobody better to know that St. George's wicket. Just in terms of, we see like leaning on players when you get to home ground, but Shook's leaning heavily on you this weekend to provide the intel on the wind across on the left-hand side and all those types of things.
Yeah, look, I've had my fair share of experience here at St. George's. So certainly that is a factor. You get some really heavy winds and some light breezes, and then the direction it comes from. So certainly if it comes from a certain direction, don't want to get all the advice away, but then it can really swing on a particular day. Cloud cover obviously comes into play, but generally I think the pitch at St. George's is, it's got a little bit quicker over the years, like the way the AD has prepared it. I think he done a great job in, getting a lot more pace into the pitch. And I think traditionally it's a very good five-day pitch. It generally also leaves that one international pitch in the middle of the square. So, it's well prepared. So I think if the weather's going to be good, and depending on, obviously, like I say, the overhead conditions and wind conditions, chances are very good that we're going to go deep into these 5 days.
Thanks, Zahir. We're going to go Johan, then we'll wrap with Kaniso.
Pete, no balls. Nobody does that deliberately. Was it working with some of the guilty parties? It wasn't costly in the match, but
yeah, it's obviously a concern. It's something we've already paid attention to. It's something that does creep into the game. It's a fine art in a sense. Everyone tries to get as close to the front line as possible. And it's not the same solution for everybody. There's not one solution that you can apply to everybody. Everybody adapts to it differently because everybody's style is different. So it's certainly, in case of our bowlers who've got a problem at the moment, it's it's our responsibility to take care of it. So we need to fix that.
Thanks, Johan. We're going to go Kaniso, and then I see we do have a message just in the group. Pete, just for a couple of Afrikaans questions just at the end. But Kaniso to wrap up the English component.
Thank you very much, Mr. Piedt. The Proteas do need to win the remaining 3 matches to ensure that they qualify for the World Test Championship final, and the first box being ticked in Durban. How are you guys as the coaches helping players manage their expectations and knowing just to keep their feet grounded, knowing that their fate to get to London next year still remains firmly in their hands?
Look, it's also always good to have that sort of goal in the back of your head, but our philosophy and our method is just to make sure that we understand that, these games are, we've got to take them session by session. So we sometimes just focus on first session up to drinks, and from drinks up to lunch, and that's how we try to focus on it, is just to play the game in the present moment and make sure we do the small things right, like you mentioned before, the disciplines we need to do. And then also just our mindset, it's to make sure that we respect where we are every time we go out in the field. Nothing's going to come just our way, and we have to work for it every day. And that is just a mental approach, and the team does that very well.
Thanks, Kaniso. We're going to go from Yuri there.
Hi, goeiemôre Piet. Ja, net om ons Afrikaanse mense ook hier by die SAK uitdel. So, moenie worry. So, spankeuse gaan baie belangrik wees vir die naweek as jy kyk na al die elemente wat jy genoem het van die baanblad, die weerstoestande, want lyk ons weerstoestande is terug na normaal na die droogte en ons het baie meer oostewinde. En dit speel 'n groot rol as die oostewind daar deurtrek, val met die swaaibal bowlers. So as jy kan net vinnig kan saamvat hoe jy kyk na die moontlike bowl aanval, veral nou met die nuwe name wat opgenoem is met Mpaka wat deurkom, is dit 'n groot besluit wat voor julle lê as die coaching span? En dan die tweede vraag na dit, as ons kyk na Sri Lanka doen altyd goed hier want die toestand hier pas hulle baie beter. Gaan dit 'n groot rol ook inbring by hoe die span saamgestel word? Dankie.
Ja, beslis. Ek dink die eerste vraag is, jy weet, Wiaan Mulder is natuurlik 'n groot verlies vir ons. So ons moet, kies ons Wiaan Mulder die kolwer of kies ons Wiaan Mulder die bowler. So ons moet iemand in sy plek kies wat ons dink die balans sal reg wees. Soos ek sê, ons het opsies van 'n tweede spinner, ons het opsie van 4 vinnige bowlers en ons het 'n opsie van 3 bowlers met 'n ekstra kolwer, sodat al daai besluite moet geneem word gebaseer op hoe ons die kondisies gaan sien die volgende 2 dae. En en in terme van die toestande, ek dink dit is maar dieselfde ding wat ek jou sal antwoord. Ons sal dit ook moet besluit in terme van die spanbalans oor hoe ons dinge gaan uitwerk oor die volgende 2 dae.